Okay, so here I am at Carisbrooke, and I just thought before we got started today I would just run through what our equipment is that we take out. Now obviously may be of interest to non-beekeepers. My hope is some of our choices might be interesting for experienced beekeepers as well. Obviously there's always more than one way to do things in beekeeping. If you put two beekeepers in a room, you'll have three opinions to choose from usually. So maybe one or two of the ways that we do things might be of interest to your own consideration. So out of the equipment that we always bring out with us, first and most iconic is the smoker, and I've talked about the purpose of the smoker in previous videos. We have a couple. Probably more of interest is what we actually use to make the smoke, which is this cardboard, shredded cardboard. Now we like this. Sometimes people use wood chips or things like this. We like this. It's nice and easy to light, it stays lit, it's very easy to get hold of. We get it in pretty much every delivery of anything we ever get, and it makes quite a nice smoke. Slightly more acrid if there's bits of tape still on the cardboard. We try and select without that, but yeah, it's a good smoker fuel, and we've got plenty of it. Now also critical is this, the hive tool, which a non-beekeeper might find a little bit interesting. So you've probably seen in our videos me having to use this end to make leverage, and what a lot of people are unaware of is that bees stick everything down. They create a resin called propolis that they use to stick everything down, and in the week in between our inspections they'll quite often stick it back down again. Now they do that to reduce vibration, and they also like to fill in any gaps to stop drafts and things as well. And so we quite often have to crack that propolis to get started each week. The other end here has just got a nice little chisel end. It's useful for quite often cleaning off any surplus stuff, and just having a little cutting blade is quite often handy for all sorts of reasons. You'll quite often see me use this end for levering off a super off a brood box and similar. Now gloves. If you watch any other YouTube videos, you'll quite often see many beekeepers beekeeping without gloves. Now, sometimes that's bravado, sometimes it's just that they're able to do that. Now, I'm fairly unreactive to stings now. They hurt when they go in, but I don't swell up and itch too much anymore. So I could quite easily beekeep without gloves, and sometimes if I'm having to do a particularly fiddly job, I will pull my glove off to do that. But I quite often do more than one site in a day, and so the gloves, I use a fresh pair for each new beekeeping site that we go to, each new apiary that we go to, and then I put the used pairs in a separate box to go home and be sterilised before they're used again. And that's just so I'm not carrying any spores of bee diseases with me between sites. We have multiple sites, and one of our main reasons for having multiple sites is eggs in baskets. We could have a bee disease breakout, foul brood, one of the foul brood types of diseases or something like that, that would just kill the whole site, and we'd much rather perhaps lose 1 out of 8 of our sites than all the bees we have. And so any precaution like that, similar with the hive tools, I have multiples, and these, where they have so much direct contact with the hive, these go away and get sterilised, and I take a fresh one for each new site that we go to. Now I do take other things that we don't swap out between, so obviously the bee suit I wear, I maybe don't swap for every single site that we go to, the smoker and things like this. So it's not a total elimination of the risk, but it reduces it way down, and that's the important part. Now, other things that we have in the bucket, hive clean. I've talked about that before, and I probably may well do a video all about this because I love this stuff. And I'm a little bit cross that you can't get it in the UK anymore. So we have 4 bottles, including this one, and then we're out of this, and I'm still not entirely sure what we're going to do. Always take spare smoker fuel, because the smoker will go out at the worst possible time, and so we always have a box of matches in there as well. I've also got, and it's not in the bucket because I put it in my pocket earlier, chalk marker. You might have seen in our videos, and I've made allusions to it before, my personal organisation is abysmal. I'm profoundly dyslexic, so while I'm literate, my ability to just lose written notes is astounding. They're just gone instantly. So I actually make notes on the roof of the hive, and then this is quite weatherproof. It takes quite a lot of scrubbing to get off, so it doesn't disappear in the rain. And that just allows me to look at what they were previously. I just leave some notes for myself for the next week for where the hive was. It helps us to monitor the growth, check that they're queen right. I've got one in St Helens where they're superseding, so I don't have to look at that for 3 weeks. So I've just got I've drawn 4 little boxes, or 3 little boxes rather, and I'll just cross that each week so that when all 3 of those are crossed, I know that it's time to have a look again. And then finally, out of all of our equipment here, water. It is really hot work. This is still quite mild. We've just gone over about 15 degrees today, but in the bee suit, in the sun, with the lifting, with the smoke from the smoker drying your mouth as well, you do get thirsty. When it gets really high season, when we're up over the 20 degree mark, I actually will go out to a apiary like this, and I'll perhaps put a bottle on the roof of every other hive to remind myself to drink, because you can dehydrate before you know it, and that's when you end up getting a headache, when you end up hurting yourself lifting stuff, and yeah, my back needs to work for the whole of this season, so you just have to look after yourself. That's really, really important. And so that's it. So that'll be the first of our videos this week. Stay tuned to have a little look at some of the action going on in these hives, and I hope that you enjoy it. Do take a good look at our other content, both on YouTube and on Facebook, at Bunbury Bees on Facebook, and like, comment and subscribe. Always, I really enjoy it when you subscribe, when you comment. Talking about bees is in my top 3 favourite things to do. Thank you very much.